Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStickXL, and with me, as always, my brother from across the pond, the Welsh Gamer. Welcome to the show, Welsh. How you doing, bro?
All's good, my man, Boom. And we got some heavy topics. I'm really excited. Um, not a whole lot more to say other than thank you very much for joining us once again. All the hot pop people in the chat. Can't wait to get it going, mate. This is awesome.
Well, listen, you know what? You and I both have publicly admitted and privately, of course, admitted that this is one of our favorite shows to do. Why? Because we are Xbox guys through and through. Yes, of course, you know that I support all three consoles. Yes, you know that the Welsh is a complete gentleman and will give the proper respect to the other consoles. But at the end of the day, when you cut us, we will bleed green. Anyway, before we get into the topics, I have to give a public shout out to one of the community's absolute finest, and he's known as Shenso Elite. He was nice enough to donate two prize packs, which I'm going to be giving away later on during the show. The first one is all of the entire collection for Gears of War, which includes Judgment. Yes, if you didn't like Judgment, I hear you, but I happen to like the game. That's gonna be a total of 4 games. It's the Gears of War prize pack. Basically, all you're gonna have to do is go to YouTube, go to Twitter and do the hashtags Booms giveaways in all caps, and I'll draw that random winner. And the second prize is, and again, if you already have this, I hear you, but you know what? He didn't have to do this. He did this out of the kindness of his heart, so I greatly appreciate it. It's Alan Wake, and all of the extra DLC will be the second prize pack. So a big thank you to Shenso Elite. He is always in the chat. He's an absolute gentleman. If you're not following him on Twitter, shame on you. Take care of that right now. But let's open the show with Halo Infinite news. Now, look, that's how you open up a show. Now, here's the thing. It's only the 10th day into 2019, but I'm going to say this. It appears that 2019 is really starting out not only strong, but very reminiscent of 2018. If you remember, news of Xbox games possibly in development and all of this great information was the floodgates opened up in the beginning of last year, and it seems as if the information flow has not stopped. And I'm happy to report that Frank O'Connor at 343 Industries says that the multiplayer is coming along just fine. And being that it's coming directly from him, I have absolute confidence that it's going to be strong. I mean, look, let me say this. Halo 5 was a lot of things, and we all know how Boom feels. We all know how Welsh feels. Multiplayer was fantastic. Warzone is in itself a mode that I think that more companies should follow. I love the idea of the PvP with the PvE ideology. I thought it was done very well. They didn't, destroy you with microtransactions in a way that was gross. But you know what? This story I pulled from altchar.com, and I just kind of want to break down some of the things that Frank O'Connor had to say. He first stressed that he doesn't stabilize outside of ground pound insulation because he can't really handle the bumper buttons. He calls himself a filthy casual, and at least he admits that publicly, which is funny. The thing about it, he's been doing this for so long. But in the article, he says that for Halo Infinite, player style is subjective and broad and must be accounted for in everything from initial design proposals to final schemes and matchmaking performance. Everything is connected, and top-tier players are stacked on a pyramid of different styles and preferences. Options help, but the core game loop, and this is important, must be solid. Now, Welsh, let me ask you something. This is good information coming from Frank O'Connor. Obviously, he is the guy at Halo, and him coming out this early in the game's development, telling the fans, "Hey, listen, we got you on multiplayer. It's not going to be a problem. You know, does this give you confidence on what we're going to see in Halo Infinite in a couple of years?
Well, I can quite honestly say to you, Boom, wholeheartedly, and I mean wholeheartedly, and I mean this, right? I put my left nut on the line. But I have honestly never had any concern with the multiplayer, especially after playing Halo 5's multiplayer.
Okay.
This is the thing. My only concern, and I do that in quotations, if you will, rests with how they execute the single player. As we've discussed, like there's certain things that I think I need to see and any Halo fan needs to see for that to be a success. But when it comes to the multiplayer, I wholeheartedly left nut on the line on a railroad track for a train to run over. I have no concerns about the multiplayer. All this interview, right, says to me with Frank O'Connor and the things that he said is that the team at 343 are very aware that, you know, what the fan base want and are very ears to the ground with the feedback, which in all honesty, Boom, and I've said this, and this can really be like, you know, applied with any game across the board, but that is honestly the only surefire way for undoubted success and to appeal, especially when it concerns Halo, to the old fans and the new. So with that said, there are going to be moments in the multiplayer's development where the team are going to have to store or dismiss certain requests, as they are obviously going to have a certain vision in mind and what they want the multiplayer to look like. So I've got an example in my head, like for the chat, just to put it into perspective. So for example, say you've got person X, Y, and Z to your left who's saying, or requesting that I don't want a sprint. I don't want sprint in my Halo. Make it like Halo 2. I want no sprint. Then I would fully expect 343 in that instance to respectively ignore that request because you're backtracking.
Right.
But if
yes.
a person, you know, on my right, person ABC is asking for the ability to dual wield two needlers like he used to in Halo 2 and 3,
yes.
then I say 343, you better be listening the fuck up here, as these are touches that can be made and added to the game that will not, in fairness, overall change your vision. You know, something like dual wielding weapons, or those are things that can be added even if you didn't originally intend to, and it won't affect the overall game. You can still keep your core vision. And, you know, let's be fair, it's going to please a lot of people. It's going to appease the majority of people. So bottom line, just in answer to the question, I am fully confident and I fully expect there to be differences and changes from Halo games before Infinite. But to say I'm worried, you know, in any way would be a complete lie. I truly have faith in 343 when it comes to multiplayer. And I think that, you know, Halo 4 and Halo 5, we said it last week, Boom, what they did right and what they did wrong were complete opposites to one another.
Yes.
And I know we were mainly talking about the single player last week, but that
yes.
can still be definitely argued with the multiplayer. I think Halo Infinite, ear to the ground, they've got a pro team behind closed doors as well, helping with the mechanics and perfecting it. I think that they can't do any wrong, really, as long as they're listening to the right information. And I have absolute faith. I can't wait to play it. I can't wait. I love Halo. I love Halo's multiplayer. I have all faith in the world. It's going to be fantastic.
You know, I kind of want to continue with this article because he says something that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes it needs to be said out loud for fans to actually understand. He also points out making Halo Infinite the air quotes perfect Halo. And this is what he says about it. It would appease. There's no way to appease all the fans. It's logically and mathematically, for that matter, an impossibility. That being said, he remains super confident and enthusiastic about how the Infinite team is approaching both evolution and legacy. You see, those two words right there, I think should really be discussed before we move on past this topic, because when you talk about evolution in Halo, some people get nervous, right? You're like, oh my God, hold on. Listen, let me just say this. I want to calm some of the fears of the Halo fans, because I'm a big proponent for Halo. I've been very, very vocal about my disappointment in the single player, but I've also been very rah-rah about how I enjoyed the multiplayer. What they did in Halo 4 with the multiplayer, where they tried to make it like Call of Duty, you'll never see that mistake again. I think that at that particular point in time, they traded what they knew about the game for a trend, and it blew up in their face. There's just no doubt about it. Halo 4 multiplayer was not good at all. The single player story was completely fantastic. And of course, that's what Welsh was referring to about Halo 5 doing the opposite. They killed it when it came to the multiplayer. But the story, and again, listen, I'm not shitting on you if you like the story. If you did, listen, I hear you. And I'm not taking anything away. That is your opinion, and you're absolutely entitled to it. I just didn't like it as much as other stories because, I'm a Master Chief guy. But the other point that they brought up in this little excerpt that I talked about, besides evolution, which is, of course, the game growing, it's legacy. And Welsh, I kind of want you to touch on that a little bit more, because you talked about dual wielding and a few other things. The legacy that they're referring to in this statement goes back to what made Halo Halo. What are your takeaways from Frank O'Connor addressing that they are looking at both points and they find them equally important?
Well, it's that, and what you said before as well about it being mathematically impossible to appease every fan. I mean, like you've got to, like, what I'm getting at is like the fact that what they want to stay true to the legacy of Halo is very promising, but at the same time, you've got to have your limitations. Like I said, if person XYZ is asking for sprints to be taken away, in that instance, it's like, come on. I mean, we're happy to appeal to the legacy lovers and stuff, but you can't take away sprint. You're going backwards. It's just one of those things. Like, but the fact that he's saying, like, quote, that we want to, stick to the legacy of Halo. That just says to me that the team behind Halo now, 343, they've been at it a few years now. That I think the passion is where it needs to be. They're the right people for the job. And you can tell that their heart, I can't stress this enough, Boom. You can tell that their hearts are in the right place. They want to make the perfect Halo. And I just have no doubt in my mind that they're going to do that. When they say like the legacy side of things, it is the little things like person ABC asking to dual wield, because that's what Halo 5 was missing. That's what Halo 4 was missing in its multiplayer. Like something that small and what might appear insignificant to many. If you're a core Halo fan going back to Halo 2 and 3, which were the pinnacle moments of Halo's lifespan, they need to bring those sort of things back. Again, like when it comes to like the game modes, they need to have a true big team battle mode. They didn't have that in Halo 5. They stuck to the more arena based. But when you go back in time to like when when Crackdown 1 came out and they released the Halo 3 beta on Crackdown's disc or whatever game it was, I remember playing it with my friends. It was just 3 game types: big team battle, big team capture the flag, and big team free for all or something like that. And it was just these maps, that sand map with the big elephant.
Oh my God, yes.
Like that is quite literally the legacy. And Halo 5, where it done a lot of things correctly, it kind of pushed aside a lot of those things as well. They went to just the roots of Halo with the 4v4, the arena based, and I was for that, by the way. But why not have that and big team battle and all the other things, as well as dual wielding, as well as all the different power ups you can pick up, like the grav lift and the bubble and the shield bubble and all the different grenades. Don't stop at bloody sticky grenade and frag grenade. I want the flame grenade. I want the spike grenade. Bring back all the bloody old, literally have every vehicle that's ever shown up in a Halo game. Have the bloody brute motorbike thing. Have the mongoose. Have the warthog. Have all the different flying vehicles. Literally, Boom. When I say legacy, they literally just need to have like the Halo 5 mechanics, because I see nothing wrong with them going forward. But just everything around just add, keep it coming. All the vehicles, all the maps, the big team battle modes, the ability to dual wield, all the different grenades, all the different power-ups from Halo 3 and Halo 2. Literally, Boom, when he says legacy, I just think of all those things. And I just think they're the fabrics of Halo. They're the things that hold it together. The thing that made Halo so good all those years. And in order to just appease everyone without, like I said, you know, changing your overall vision of the game, you need to just add all these outer bits in, and you've got a good multiplayer. I just think that's what he means when he says legacy, and I fully expect those things. I expect Halo Infinite, when it drops, to have the arena focus multiplayer, the big team battle. Yes. I fully expect to see more or less every vehicle we've ever seen, every weapon we have ever seen in all the games. No hit or misses. I want to see all of them. I want to see all the power-ups, from the grab lift to the bubble shield, all of those, all the grenades, literally everything. Just put it all in there and just blow our minds with the infinite possibilities on how you can kill each other and how you can blow each other up, or what vehicle you can splatter someone with, or make like that. That is what I think of when I hear Frank O'Connor say we want to stick true to the legacy of Halo. And they've got the tools to do it. They got the power to do it. They're going into a new generation with the new hardware. There's pretty much no limit as long as they're willing to do it.
Well, you know what? You actually bring up a good point. You actually bring up a fantastic point, to be honest with you. You know, with the Azure server is going to be probably at the forefront of this game. It's easy to believe that, you know, imagination is basically the limitation. And I agree with you. I think that, you know, of course, you want to get new Halo fans, right? Obviously, you know, that's always the goal. Sure, you want to, you know, you want to appease the fans, the guys that are like us, who've been around since freaking, you know, Combat Evolved on the OG Xbox. You want to, you know, tug those guys along, but you also want to get new people that are playing the battle royales and they're playing the PUBGs and the Fortnites, right? You know, you have to, you know, grow the brand. So I like the idea of, you know, adding, you know, new things. I also appreciate them going back, like you said, into the bag and bringing forward some of the older things, and the simple things like the dual wielding is a big deal. You know, when you talk about what they're going to do in regards to the multiplayer, I'm with you on that. Like, I'm absolutely with you on that. I have zero concerns. But this is a two-prong topic. Now I start to get, again, this is take nothing away from what 343 has done. They you know, they're trying to fill very big shoes. Obviously, Bungie is who they are. They made everything Bungie touched with Halo up until the last one, which was Reach, was nothing short of industry changing and just amazing, right? I mean, it was Bungie, and you know, we know what they're doing and what trials and tribulations they're dealing with right now. But we're not talking about Bungie. We're talking about 343 now. It's no you know, secret here that the fan base, I'm talking the guys like me and you, had a terrible distaste for the single player. That's the bottom line. It just was not done well. The messaging was all wrong. Okay, you know, had all these amazing commercials, and it looked like it was going to be Superman versus Batman, and it turned out to be just, you know, a dud fight, and then Chief getting his visor cracked, which is still a little bit of a sore spot for me personally as a Chief fan.
Boom, it's funny you made that comparison, because it was just as much of a letdown as Batman versus Superman.
You know, dude, that was really good. Nice segue, because I didn't even catch that. But you know what? I'm going to be honest. You know, listen, you know, as Xbox fans, I think that the way that you and I do this show is we're very pro rah, right? Like, everyone's like, oh my God, Boom, you're so positive. And yes, I am. I love my glass is always half full, regardless of the situation. That's how I was in my professional life. That's how I am in my private life. I like hoping for the best. I don't expect the worst. but I have to be honest. I have to be completely fair here. I'm a little not worried. Worried would be like I have concerns. I want to know more about the story. I understand we're not going to get a lot. Hopefully at E3 2019, being that Microsoft is going to have the show floor pretty much to themselves, that we're going to get a big Halo Infinite blowout. But I have some reservations on what the story is going to be. I again, we've heard rumors. Nothing is confirmed that it's going to be all Chief all the time, which is something that we've all been clamoring for. I want to know a little bit about where they're going with the story. I think it's going to be very important. Drew, do you feel the same way that I do when it comes to the single player portion of Halo Infinite?
Oh, mate, I mean, we could talk all day about the multiplayer, but like I said at the beginning, my only concern in quotations is like where they're going to go with it, because it looks very promising. Like the whole idea, like we've speculated and it's been more or less confirmed due to like job listings and stuff like that, like what we are in for with Halo Infinite. But at the same time, I'm with you, Boom, based on its previous endeavors and Halo 5 being at the, you know, top of the tree on that one, it does say I'll just say this: it puts butterflies in my stomach a little bit, because
Okay.
I just want like for me, I follow a Halo follower on YouTube, and he did a video a few days ago where he spoke highly about 2019 and how it's going to be filled with Halo news for Halo Infinite, and I sure as hell hope so. I mean, I expected it anyway because they dropped the bomb. They dropped the bomb at E3 2018. I expect more news on it this year, and I don't just mean like a trailer or some gameplay at E3 2019. I want a vidoc thing hosted. I want them to release maybe like a behind-the-scenes diary series like they did for Halo Master Chief Collection. I want them to just really give us as the gamer a little insight into what they're doing, so we know what we're in for, because I think that is the recipe for keeping people's expectations at a nice level as well. You know, you don't want people assuming it's going to be X, Y, and Z, and then it turns out to be A, B, C, and then it's like, oh fuck, like they did with Halo 5 Guardians, like you know, like the marketing and all the trailers led us to believe it was going to be this like David and Goliath epic showdown, and instead we got only fools and horses. You know, it's just one of those things. I just think. Like I said, my only concerns are with the single player, not because I think it's going to be bad, but because I really want it to be as good as I'm expecting it to be. But I would really like for them over there at 343 to give us a real insight, give us a nice chunk of the gameplay to chew on, give us some behind the scenes, you know, looking like maybe like a segment on Inside Xbox, or maybe a whole Inside Xbox episode just dedicated to 343 Industries. Like, imagine that, Boom, like a whole hour's show behind the scenes with 343. Instead of like plucking things left and right, just do an Inside Xbox show dedicated to 343 where they're interviewing all the different departments of the team, or giving us a little look into what they're doing with the multiplayer, what they're doing with the single player. Like, just give us something to chew on, because like I said, my only concern is single player. And as much as I think they're going to do well, I want to see it for myself a little bit. I don't want to have to wait too long to see something.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say that you know, you don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Of course, too much information prior to the game being available for the fan base to play would obviously ruin it. You know, we don't want any surprises. I think base gameplay, some sort of an explanation of where the story is going is going to be necessary at one point or another. I'm hoping that we see something at E3 2019. But you know what? You know, James 176 in the chat asked a pretty damn good question, and I want to answer that, and I want to get your take on this. You know, as it stands, there's been only one Halo title to be a launch game with a console, and that, of course, is Halo Combat Evolved with the OG Xbox. It's pretty much what put the Xbox on the map, and no one expected that. And we've heard the stories of how Bungie, it was going to be a whole bunch of different things. It was going to be an RTS. It was going to be a third person. And then we got what we got, and, the rest is history. And the question that he asks is Halo Infinite going to be a launch title for the next Xbox, which is probably going to be Anaconda? And I have to say that I believe it is, for a couple of reasons. One, the Project Anaconda or Xbox Anaconda, whatever you want to call it, is probably going to come out sometime in the holiday of 2020. So we still have literally 2 years for that console to be made. And I think that based on the way that Microsoft is positioning their newly acquired first party studios, it seems as if their launch window. Now, when I say that, usually the launch window is the first 90 days of a console. It's 3 months. Launch titles are usually launching with the console. I believe that not only are we going to get Halo Infinite, I think we're going to get a new Forza, and there's going to be something else in there that either might be, Killer Instinct 2. It might be, one of the other titles they're working on. I think that their launch lineup is going to be insane. And I definitely think that if Microsoft wants to make their mark, so to speak, in regards to a splash at launch, Halo Infinite is a must. Well, am I talking craziness?
I'm just getting off the phone with the psychiatric ward. They hate me, man. This is the second week I've had to ring them. You need to stop this shit, Boom. Crazy ass boy. No, mate. You're speaking more than just sense, mate. Honest to God. I mean, like for me, like when I look at E3 2018, I think it's all too convenient and coincidental that they chose that E3 to reveal Halo Infinite, even while it was just a slipspace demo, and all the while that same E3, they dropped all those acquisitions with all those new studios. It just seemed all too, why here, why now? Like they could have easily shown us Halo Infinite next year. They could have shown us the year before that, 2017, because it was just a slipspace demo. And we all know, Halo 5 Guardians came out back in 2015. They've been working on Infinite since then, no doubt. They could have shown us anything just to get our lips wet. But they did it the same time they revealed all those acquisitions. And I say this, I think that when the Xbox Scarlet family does drop, I think the launch titles on those systems, those 3 SKUs, that window is going to be a host of many games, Boom. I think, I'm not saying all of the acquisitions, but I fully expect the initiative, the quadruple A developer, to have maybe 1 or more games ready to drop at launch. I imagine Ninja Theory will definitely have a game to show for the launch of the Scarlet. And leading the charge, because I'm not nearly done, there's probably at least a couple more of those acquisitions that are working on titles ready for the launch of the Scarlet. But I think at the top of that, list is Halo Infinite. 2015, they've been working on it now for like 2 or 3 years, I'd say, since Halo 5 Guardians. And then by the time 2020 rolls around, it's going to be about 5 going on 6 years off the top of my head. I'm telling you now for a fact that Halo Infinite is going to be a launch title on the Scarlet. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. And I do think that's why they chose 2018's E3 to reveal it with all the other acquisitions, because it's just a message, I think. I think it is just a little cryptic message. Like, look at everything on this stage is what you can expect to see come next generation. And yeah. I do believe that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Great point. But you know what? I think that we have talked about Halo long enough. It's time to move on to my second favorite franchise to talk about. And that, of course, is Gears of War. And we got some hot information. Now, this story I pulled from Windows Central. I actually really like Jez Corden. I think he writes extremely well. A lot of their writers are really good. If you're not fans of Windows Central, but you're a fan of Xbox, I say go over there and subscribe. They do provide some really good information. And on very early in this week, Gears Tactics was revealed by Razer, who is making the $250 mouse and keyboard that's coming out later this year. It does look amazing. It's something that I think I'm going to wind up picking up, to be honest. I've never played on mouse and keyboard, but if it gets me Gears Tactics, I think I absolutely have to. Well, the story that I pulled from Windows Central was suggesting that, and they really weren't suggesting, they were reporting upon that Razer themselves had Gears of War Tactics and PUBG listed as games that would be using not only the mouse and keyboard, but coming to the Xbox One. Now, we know PUBG is already there. They took that off the list, and in an update to the story, they apparently removed Gears of War Tactics from that list. Now, I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to pull a line directly from a good friend of this community, Mooch. Microsoft always, he always says that Microsoft says PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC, right? They've been kind of pushing this down our throats for what seems like the last year or so. And the fact that not only has it been confirmed of mouse and keyboard support for the Xbox One, I think it would absolutely be not only foolhardy, but I don't know, insane for Microsoft to ignore 45 plus million Xbox One users. Now, here's the thing. 45 million people aren't going to run out and buy Gears of War Tactics, but I'm probably safe to say that at least 5 million of those 45 would probably run out and buy it. I'm one of them. I'm sure Drew is one of them. And I'm sure that many people within the chat are fans of Gears of War and may be looking to try something a little bit different. I mean, we're getting Gears 5 at the end of the year. Drew, let me ask you, a company like Razer, I don't think they make mistakes. And, maybe they let the cat out of the bag a little early, but do you think that Gears of War Tactics is coming to the Xbox One, and this was just an error in their PR department?
Nah, it's a no-brainer at this point, Boom. It's. I mean, and like you said, you referred to Mooch and what Eve said, but like I've said it for God knows how long. Like, Xbox isn't just a box anymore; it's a brand across devices. Windows 10, Universal Windows platform, all of that. It is like Mooch said. Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. And I saw someone in the chat saying about finally people can stop crying about PC guys taking Xbox games. But that was happening. And I know the narrative was, Xbox hasn't got any true exclusives, blah, blah. But like, the bottom line was, this is what needed to happen with Razer being collaborating with Xbox to bring us the mouse and keyboard, the couch mouse and keyboard for the Xbox, in order for it to work both ways. We knew this would happen. It's a game of give and take with Xbox and PC now, Boom. Play Anywhere as an initiative, as a driving force, is going to have a much bigger meaning now going forward once keyboard and mouse takes full effect. So no, there is no mistake there, Boom. Absolutely not. Gears Tactics will be one of many PC games to come to Xbox, mark my words. As like you referred to with Mooch, Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. Xbox is across it all now. With this keyboard and mouse, it just opens up that final barrier, that final door, which allows games to come the other way. I mean, for how long now has like Halo and Gears been day and date on Windows 10 on the store for people to buy on PC, but not many games from the PC have made their way over to Xbox due to the hurdle in the way, really, and that's like for the developer to take that extra time to collaborate the controls over the controller and do all that. But now they won't have to do that. With mouse and keyboard, games like Gears Tactics and say Empire Earth, maybe World of Warcraft, all these games that are keyboard and mouse heavy should in theory make their way over to Xbox come, when Razer drops this keyboard and mouse thing. So in all honesty, Boom, I do not think it was a mistake in any way. I think they intended to put it up. Maybe it was just like, just to get it out there, or maybe it was a genuine mistake that they put it up in the sense that they shouldn't have that early. But I don't think it's a mistake in the sense that, like, like they got the wrong end of the stick. Like that to me speaks volumes that it is in fact happening. But we knew it was anyway. I'm excited. I can't wait to see the games that come our way because of it. And I've already said, Gears Tactics aside, if World of Warcraft comes to Xbox and all I need is a keyboard and mouse to play it, mark my words, I'll be first in line.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, look, here's the thing. You know, there have been several RTS games to make its way to the Xbox One, and they've worked on controller just fine. Now, Rod Ferguson, when he first was asked whether or not he would bring Gears Tactics to the Xbox One, his comment was a little puzzling, where he said, and I quote, right now, we're focusing on PC. You know what? I mean, look, you know, I like Rod. I think he is an incredible developer. I think that he is the right guy for the job. But I'm going to have to be a little bit of a downer Dan here. You know, what's annoying me about this story, and again, if I can't talk to the Xbox fans, the good and the bad, then you're checking out the wrong guy, because as much as I want to throw confetti at Microsoft for every move, when they take a shit, I have to be, you know, and I'm the guy that's cleaning it up. I have to say something about it. And, you know, the marketing on this particular game at this point is puzzling. You know, I mean, again, Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. And if in fact that is the case, why not just be transparent? Say, hey, listen, right now it's going to launch on the PC, but then we are in fact going to release it on the Xbox One. You know, this cloak and dagger shit is what really annoyed me about the marketing department in this generation, and it's why Microsoft lost. And again, I'm not going to go too deep into my distaste for their marketing department, because I think it's rubbish, to be quite frank. But this is just another example, a very public example of the question I asked: what the F are you guys doing? Just be clear with your fan base. You know, well, you know, it was accident and it was on purpose and we don't know. And right now it's PC, but it might be Xbox, but we have mouse and keyboard. Listen, guys, if you're going to sell the 45 million plus gamers that are Xbox supporters a $250 mouse and keyboard, you got to have games for it. It's the biggest problem with the Xbox that we had. You know, yes, are they rectifying it with all the first parties that they bought? Yes. But the biggest problem this generation was their first party games, right? The Xbox has no games. The running joke. Well, you're starting out this drive to get people to buy this new thing from Razer that's Xbox specific, and you don't have any games to put out there. For God's sakes, let the fans know what you're doing. I mean, listen, take it away, Welsh. Have I left anything out?
No. Frankly, I mean, I know what I said was like hearsay, but you are bang on the money. Bottom line, this is definitely one of those opportunities where Xbox can try and turn a new page when it comes to how they market. You know, like the fact that Gears, I just don't, you brought it to my attention. I honestly didn't give it that much thought until you just said what you just said, but it doesn't make much sense to me that they can't just outright say, like, don't worry, it will come to Xbox eventually, or with the help of mouse and keyboard, rest assured, Gears Tactics is on the way. Like, why can't they just outwardly say it?
Yes.
Why do we need to get this information due to a potential fuck up by Razer or whoever it was that put it up on Twitter and was taken down or whatever it was? Like, why can't we just hear it from the horse's mouth? Why can't Rod Ferguson himself just put out a tweet and be like, people looking forward to Gears Tactics? Well, this date it'll be out on the Xbox as well. You know, have fun. I don't know. Like, mate, honestly, I didn't give it much thought until you said it, but it's true. It makes no sense to me that they can't just say it. Like, I know me and you can say quite confidently that when mouse and keyboard comes to Xbox, there's pretty much no reason why it shouldn't cater to Gears Tactics. It wouldn't even surprise me if they're going to do a bundle or.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, good point.
But the fact that they're not saying it, it's like just tell us. Like, just tell it. Why do we have to play this guessing game? Like,
yeah, I agree.
You hit it on all fronts, Boom. I completely agree with you.
I got to be honest with you, and maybe this is the the Boom buys everything kind of thought process. But I feel that if you want to sell your Xbox fan base, who probably more than likely never really played on mouse and keyboard, you might have dabbled with it, but you're asking them or us to buy a $250 peripheral, you should probably throw Gears of War Tactics in the box as a, hey, thanks. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe I'm going too crazy out the box here, but I think that would be enticing enough to get people to buy it. Okay, listen, hey, yeah, guess what, folks? It's like buying a console and you get that pack-in game. That's the same principle, because the price point is getting up there. So I hope they do that, Welsh.
But also, I gotta say, you just made me think of it now. It's like on the other hand as well, like if they were to say, like, this is the thing, right? Like, on the other hand, what you're saying, like, if they come out now and say announce like say June of 2019, whatever, with the mouse and keyboard, Gears Tactics will be readily available on the Xbox console. So you've got, between now and then, a few months. That could give, the man who hasn't got all the money in the world the opportunity to start saving towards that keyboard and mouse. Rather, because like the keyboard and mouse and Gears, because it might not have been on said person's radar because of the price tag, like $250. But if they announce now that in however many months' time, Gears Tactics will be readily available with the keyboard and mouse, now, whoa, light bulb. That person's thinking, oh wow, okay, you've got another buyer, mate. You've got another customer here, but I haven't, I'll start saving towards it. Opposed to the week before, Rod Ferguson going, oh yeah, just guys, sorry, the keyboard and mouse is available next week, and you'll be able to play Gears Tactics. Now take that said person who hasn't got all the money in the world. He's probably thinking, you bastard. If you told me this months ago, no, but you know what I mean? He's probably thinking, you bastard. If you told me this 6 months ago, I could have been saving towards this puppy.
Yes, exactly.
Now I got to start saving now. I won't be able to get one till Christmas. You bastard. It's. I only use that example because that was me with the Xbox One X. If they hadn't have given me all this information, previous, I would never have been able to afford the One X, because I saved for the One X for months. But if they just dropped on my lap like the month before the One X came out, like, oh yeah, we're making a console that's going to be $500, $600, enjoy, ta-da, I'd have been like, oh right, okay, crap. I'm gonna have to sell a lung or something to get this puppy.
Yeah, but, that's right. That's a great point, because again, I say this all the time, and this isn't some sort of revelation. Gaming is expensive, and it's obviously always going to take a back seat to your mortgage or your cable bill or your kid's school or something that comes up. Life gets in the way of gaming all the time, and for the most part, most everybody in the chat, you and I, life is gonna outtake gaming, because that's just the way it is. And sometimes you get hit with unexpected, troubles financially, and something like 200. I mean, you can work around a $60 game. Sure, pretty much everyone can do that. You can go collect cans, and one good day can get your game. Go into Game or go into GameStop and boom, cash those cans in. You got a game. But a $250 peripheral, not so much. A console, not so much. So yes, marketing. I don't know what they're doing over there. Like I said, I have a lot of positive things to say about Xbox and what they did in 2018 and the way that they started 2019. But this particular instance is definitely a bit of a head scratcher for me. But I want to move on to the next topic. But before I do that, I have to thank Michael Johnson for the $5 super chat. I wish I would be able to see what he wrote and read it live on the air, but for some reason the chat cuts off on YouTube, which is ridiculous considering that it's my channel and I cannot retrieve it. So, Michael, if you're still listening and you want to ask that question again, just don't drop any more money. You don't have to do that. Just put the question in there, and I will answer it live on the air. But you know what? I want to move on to the next topic because I think we're going to be here for a while, and it involves Phil Spencer shocking the CES 2019 crowd when he was invited on stage for the AMD keynote. And he had some really interesting things to say about the future of Microsoft and the Xbox platform. Now, this particular story I pulled from shacknews.com, and it goes on to say that Spencer's appearance turned some heads as rumors have been swirling for months that AMD may be providing the hardware platform for the successor to Microsoft's Xbox One X console. Spencer spoke a bit about how working with AMD resulted in the advancements offered by the Xbox One X console, as well as the future of cloud power gaming. And here is his exact quote. As we look forward to the future, okay, let me start. As we look forward to future platforms that we are building and work that we are doing currently, the partnership and the innovations that we've seen in the past have led to what we've been able to do today. I think they're going to be critically important to our future endeavors. I'm really looking forward to showing those to the people on what we're doing in the future. Drew, now this is it's a very open, it's a very kind of blanketed statement, but we know what they're doing. We know that the Anaconda is poised to be, once again, the most powerful console ever created. Some in the industry behind closed doors are saying that it may even be more powerful and slightly more expensive than Sony's PlayStation 5. What are your takeaways with them coming together publicly with AMD and him showing up on their keynote stage?
I to be able to confidently stand up there and just profess a partnership to that extent, it is a big thing. It shows pride in the product. It shows that they're looking forward to working with them again, or they're probably already hard at work. I doubt it's just starting. But no, you just got to look at the Xbox One X as proof of like what they're capable of doing with AMD. I got quite, to be fair, Boom, with this particular topic, I've got a hell of a lot here on my notes that I wanted to cover. With regards to,
take all the time you want, because this is I think it's a big topic.
No, it's just you asked me a pretty loaded question in the DM about how confident am I that Microsoft and AMD will deliver the console with so much power that it could potentially outshine the X on every level and even push Sony's PS5 on its heels, correct? That's what you asked me?
That is absolutely correct, yes.
And with that question in mind, Boom, and with what you're asking me about Phil standing up on the stage and talking about this and the other, I've got a pretty loaded answer for that pretty loaded question.
Let's go with it. I'm amped.
Man, me too. That's the thing, Boom. I've said it so many times. When you give me these topics, like, it just gets the cogs turning. I just spout out all these. It gets me thinking, man. But bottom line, like, the Xbox One X only proves where Xbox are as a driving force, and the One X could be argued by many to already be the level of what we could have expected from a next-gen box. And we already more or less can say with confidence that the Lockhart, also known as the Xbox One S 2.0, the mid-tier box out of the 3 Scarlet SKUs, is going to be more powerful than the One X.
Yes,
which
correct.
Is mental. You know, that's mental, Boom. Like, come on. like that if that doesn't speak volumes already, that is crazy. So all that says to me about the Anaconda, which is the premium box above that, is that it's going to be setting the bar really high. And Boom, I mean really, really high. Now, that's not to suggest that the PlayStation 5 won't be able to compete after seeing, after seeing the night and day difference between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, however, which despite, pony narrative changes, are in fact both mid-gen upgrades. So, like I'm saying, I'm not suggesting while the Anaconda is going to be setting the bar really high, I'm not suggesting that the PS5 won't be able to compete. But what I am saying is if you look at the comparison between the PS4 Pro and the One X, it is night and day. Despite ponies, changing the narrative, they're both, in fact, mid-gen upgrades for the current gen we are in, which says a lot about the capabilities of both companies when building hardware. Now, when you turn back the clocks, Boom, and I had to do this, so it's just something that come to me, back to the 1080p makes you a better gamer era. The Xbox One Fat model was a misstep from Microsoft.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. Absolutely.
It was due to the lack of focus, the lack of gaming focus, and we can all agree with that. Yet, if we think about it, Boom, just take a step backwards in time, to the naked eye, you never really, it never really stood out as insanely superior on the PS4. Like games didn't actually stand out as insanely superior, which says a lot.
Yes, correct.
Frankly, in order to see a difference, you need a digital foundry to use a magnifying glass and a hair-tooth comb.
They had to count. Let's not forget they had to count blades of grass.
Oh, and grains of sand. And you needed all these special machines to prove that there was even a difference in the first place. Even this is even when PS4 went with the all gaming focused machine versus the Xbox One Fat's TV box with a couple of games on it.
Yeah.
It's still, with that said, the PS4 was still, it wasn't leaps ahead of the Xbox One Fat model, despite what fanboys and the biased media would have led you to believe, which to me also says a great deal already that even with that big leg up that Sony had, Sony still didn't make a system to blow Xbox out of the way in terms of power. So with that said, for me, the only true comparison, as I mentioned a moment ago, is, to give us a little insight into the difference between Microsoft and Sony in terms of delivering a juggernaut machine in the future, is comparing the PlayStation 4 Pro with the Xbox One X, as the Xbox One X was Phil and team saying, this is what we can produce when we turn all our focus to an all gaming box, unlike the Xbox One Fat. So with all that said and done, Boom, I truly believe that the Anaconda will truly be groundbreaking of a machine and will set a new standard for console gaming, the same way the Xbox One X did. And they will truly deliver. And I think the fact that Phil Spencer and AMD have a good relationship, Phil Spencer is very confident in what they're doing behind closed doors, working with AMD. I have absolutely no doubt. It not only speaks volumes in terms of confidence from the Xbox team, but with the comparisons going back into the history books and everything, like PlayStation hasn't ever really outdone Xbox when it comes to power. Even, like I said, even with the 1080p era, like it was never leaps and bounds. The only true comparison you can make is the PlayStation 4 Pro with the Xbox One X, as those two were mid-generation upgrades, and it was the moment that Xbox took the balls of the bull and said, hey, we're going to make a box that's for gaming, and look what it produced, Boom. The Xbox One X, and unlike the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One Fat, it was a night and day difference between the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. It is night and day. You didn't need bloody digital pony with their hair tooth comb and magnifying glass. It speaks volumes. That just leads me to believe that the Anaconda is just going to blow doors off, and they will 100% deliver on the most powerful console. I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be outstanding. And I think Phil just knows it. He's just confident, likes to talk to the crowd, talk to people, talk about AMD, because he just knows. He knows full well what we're in for as the gamer.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm going to tell you this. What's exciting, and you made a point of this early in what you had to say, which, by the way, was brilliant. I have to applaud you on that, because that was very well thought out, very well spoken. You said something about the middle of the three. You're going to have your Anaconda, you're going to have your Lockhart, and then you're going to have your streaming box. Which, again, we're hearing this. Nothing is confirmed. We know that Anaconda is confirmed. We know that Lockhart is confirmed. We still kind of up in the air about what they're going to do with is it going to be $100 streaming box? I think it's going to be. But when you said that the middle one, Lockhart, is going to be slightly more powerful than the Xbox One X, that in itself should excite you as an Xbox gamer, simply because if that's going to be slightly better than what I'm playing right now, which is unbelievably fantastic, the Anaconda is just going to completely blow people's doors off. And I think that, and I've said this before, we might have said it last week or the week before, this three-pronged attack, I think, might have caught Sony with their pants down, to be honest. Having three different price points appealing to not only the hardcore, but the middle of the road folks, as well as, of course, the most important, the casual gamer, is really a fantastic strategy. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in 2020, but more specifically E3 2019. I think that we're going to get a lot of really good information. I hope that someone from Microsoft hears the cries of the fans, and because anyone that's an Xbox fan has been saying it for months, that they need to do better in their marketing. Obviously, in mid-December or very early December, when we found out that Sony was not attending E3 2019, I think it just pretty much opened the door for Microsoft to start planning on one of the biggest shows that they've ever put on. But you know what? Two things. First, Michael Johnson, who I just have to find his quote over here. Hold on just a second. Well, you know what? Okay, this is what Michael Johnson had to say in regards to his question. He said that Halo was his favorite Xbox franchise, and that it made him a lifelong Xbox fan. I believe Halo Infinite will be an Xbox 2 launch title, and I'll be there day one to play it. And you know what, Mike? You and everybody in the chat, along with me and the Welsh Gamer here, we're going to be right there with you. I have to announce the first winner for the Gears of War prize pack, which is Shan786. Congratulations, dude. I will send you all of those codes as soon as the show is over. That's a big win. If you have them, donate them to a friend, because, again, they are the Xbox 360 games, but they are enhanced if you play them on the X, and they are available, of course, in Game Pass. So if you have them, give them to somebody who doesn't. I have to say real quick, a big thank you to Drum Solo Please for the incredible $10 super chat. He says, I'm all in on the Anaconda. Can't wait for the announcement. Great show as always, Boom and Welsh. Love listening to you guys while at work on the computer. And yes, thank you for that. That's very kind of you to say. And we're glad that we make your workday go by on Thursdays. But I want to talk about, and this is funny because, when you look at the media as a whole, some stories just don't get the legs I think that they deserve. And this one seemed to pass right under the bar. According to a story that I pulled from Tech Radar, and this credit goes to one of the show's biggest fans and who I'm a fan of, Old School G dropped this in the DM for me. The story goes as such. New Microsoft patents point to an upgrade to not the Elite controller, but to the Xbox One controller. And my only question to you, Drew, is this. How the hell could they already make this incredible standard controller even better? I mean, look, say what you want about the gaming, each one of these systems controllers. We know how everyone feels about the PlayStation 4. I use it for their first-party games. I'm not a fan of it. I'm actually going to probably sometime down the line invest in a SCUF controller because it is set up exactly like the Xbox One. But Drew, I have to pose this question to you, and you and I have talked about this, on DMs. We talked about this prior to going live on the show. The Xbox One standard controller is probably the greatest controller ever made. There's no arguing that. It's perfect. It's well weighted. The designs are fantastic, but the controller itself is just pinpoint accurate. How could they make this possibly any better is my question to you.
I'm probably beating myself up a bit. My answer is probably not going to be as exciting as people might be anticipating, and it's only because you made me stuck. Like oh man, it's like a teacher like telling you to stand up in the middle of a math class and just giving you a random equation. You're just like miss, I don't know what to say. Like literally, like that's. But I'm gonna give it my all. But honestly, I'll say this much already. Like the first thing that come to mind, Boom, is like it's really hard to imagine it getting any better, as the standard controller that I use on a daily basis for me personally, but I think I speak for everyone, is it is the gold standard. It is the gold standard in my opinion for overall comfort and use compared to any other controller on the market, with the exception of the Elite controller, of course. And it's certainly, like, if we're going back in time, it's certainly a massive upgrade from the OG's controller and the 360 controller. Because the 360 controller, Boom, if you'd have posed the question that you're posing me now back then, I'd have said the same thing. Mate, I don't know how they could have made it better, because for me, the 360 was amazing. And the 360 controller, and I couldn't think of ways that could have been better. But here we are, with a controller that's definitely better. But if you're asking me what they need to do or what they could actually do, this is where I came unstuck, because I really don't think they need to change anything to its design in terms of the shape or the measurements. The only things that I can think of is maybe just adding like better grip. That's not to say that its grip is awful and it needs it. I'm just thinking of things like if I'm plucking, like, bottom of the barrel digging for something here, I'm saying that better grip on the handles, maybe adding a simple way to customize, or just changing like the thumbsticks if you want a different style of thumbstick, or you need to replace them when they're old, like just an easy like click in click out kind of thing. I don't know, just for that'll tickle some people's fancy. Same with the triggers and the bumpers. Maybe release like different shapes and different types of triggers and bumpers where you can buy them separately, and like customize your controller a little bit. Just the ability to maybe modify it a little bit with relative ease would be a huge plus when making a new iteration. And I know for a fact it would make a lot of people happy. The ability to change the thumbsticks like you can with the Elite, obviously not at the same level, but if you want to do it, you can with absolute ease. Like make it so you don't have to take the screws out and then yank apart the controller. Just a simple click. Oh, I want to change this thumbstick. Pop that out. Oh, I bought this wicked new bloody scuff thumb stick. Like click that in. I don't know. But what I will say though, and this is talking about next gen as well, as a whole, and this goes for all the platforms, I wouldn't be surprised. I do think, and this is last but not least now, I do believe that with the Elite controller and with any like competitive controller, you have the extra paddles and buttons on the back.
Yeah.
I honestly do think, after recently coming across a third-party Xbox One controller by Power A, that has it's basically a replica of the Xbox standard controller, but it has 2 extra buttons on the back, which you can calibrate for whatever you want. I do think that is going to be the norm eventually. And I do
the
think
paddles. My brother's a big fan of that. Neo Mental absolutely loves that, especially playing Destiny 2. He's like a ninja with that thing.
But I think that will be the norm. I think going in the next gen, I'm not saying they're going to be compulsory to be used, but I do think that the standard controller will have some extra buttons on the back for those who want to use them. So they could add those as a design addition for the people who want to use them. And I do think that will be as standard going forward. But other than that, Boom, I am literally at a complete loss on what they could do, as the standard Xbox controller we already possess is more or less perfect in my opinion. But I gave it my all. Like I said, it probably wasn't sunshine and rainbows. Like, God, well, that's blown my mind. But I had to really think, and I think some interchangeable parts, for the gamer to customize their controller without having to rip apart the controller. And also, like, if bits get old or break off, you can easily replace them. The extra buttons on the back. I think little additions like that will make the mass majority happy without affecting what is already a perfect design. And that's all I got for you. I think they don't really need to change a whole lot. That's for damn sure.
Well, you know what? I have to shout out. I mean, there's several people mentioned it, but I'm gonna talk about him more specifically. Slow-mo backslap says, yeah, they should add a share button. And you know what? He's right. That is a fantastic idea. I didn't even think about that. I wanted to mention him because he's going to be a guest on tomorrow morning's Breakfast with Boom. He is a rising star. If you're not following him on Twitter, what the hell are you waiting for? Head over there now and follow him immediately. That's a great point. I really, really enjoyed that about the PlayStation 4 controller. It's one of the few things I actually do like about it, that you just press a button, it comes up, you share on wherever you want to share it. It takes the video or it takes the picture for you, and you're done. And yeah, I mean, again, not that, I mean, listen, the Xbox way of doing it is a little bit, sometimes it doesn't work as good as it should. You know, hit the guide button, hit Y real quick. Sometimes it doesn't catch. Sometimes it takes too long. So yes, a share button would be pretty good. And I think there's room for it without really changing too much of the controller. And you know, I don't want them to do anything with it per se, because I do really like the controller. But you know what? You know, this particular topic, I think we've beaten to death. You can only talk about a controller so much. You did well.
With that, on that note, I actually have one more thing I want to say, and I think
go ahead.
I think I'm going to get booed for this. But I honestly do hope that the next Xbox controller, you know, say for the Scarlet, I do actually hope that it still takes batteries.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, I have rechargeables.
I don't, but that's the thing. I don't mind if Xbox want to sell separately, like a you know, rechargeable alternative, so you don't need to buy batteries. But what I don't want is a battery locked into the controller that is rechargeable, because as I speak from my experience, and I know it's a fact. It's the same with phones. After a certain amount of time, the battery just wilts away, and to the point where even on full charge, you're lucky to get half an hour out of the bastard thing. So, you know, I don't want a rechargeable locked. I don't mind external rechargeables, which you can take out, recharge, put back in place of the batteries, like I do, and you said you do. But I do not want it locked in like the PS4 controller, because after a few months of constant gaming, you are just asking for trouble. You'll be wired in all the time. You'll end up just plugging it in and never unplugging it, because it's not worth your time. Because the second you unplug it, the controller's half dead, and it's like, like going out. That's what I want anyway. I'm probably alone on that, but
no, I think that's fine. I mean, you know what, like I said, I don't have rechargeable batteries per se, but I do have the Play and Charge kit, and that fits right into the battery spot. I have a few of them, and you know, obviously now you can see on the screen how much battery power you have. I will say this, they do last at least a good 15-20 hours, as opposed to the DualShock 4 is just, it's terrible. I mean, you'll get, like I said, when I was playing God of War, like it was going out of style, you know, I'd have to literally stop, because I only have one controller. I have several for the Xbox, because that's my main go-to. I only have one for the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I just logistically would have to stop after like 5 or 6 hours, because the battery is just about to die. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want to get killed, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of a boss battle or something, because my controller died. That actually would suck. But you know what? Again, people are here to hear multiple topics, and we're going to move on to the next one. Cyberpunk. That's a great topic. A lot of people are saying 2019. I don't believe it. Do I want it in 2019? Yes. But do anyone in the chat, and give me a 1 if you do and a 2 if you don't, and I think I'm going to get a lot of 2s here, remember that Cyberpunk side-scrolling game called The Last Night that was shown at E3 2017? Well, I do, because when I saw it, I was hyped listen, I'm an old school kind of cat, and I like side scrollers. I like the flashbacks of the world, and I know it's old. Some people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's what this game reminded me of. It looked fantastic. Well, in a story that I pulled from PC Gamer, creator Tim Sorrett took to Twitter to reveal a range of issues hindering the game's development while noting the desire for future funding. Now, he actually went to Twitter on December 31st, 2018, and this is what he had to say. 2018, rise and fall. We doubled the team. We got ourselves a proper, lovely studio in the core of London. Game budget finally got a massive raise. We found and developed the code architecture this game needed. We developed even more gorgeous hybrid 3D pixel art techniques. Then, ... we encountered massive business and legal funding issues that we can't talk about publicly. We had to cancel a new trailer for the last night that was supposed to be shown off at this year's Game Awards with Jeff Keighley. We are currently raising funds, so get in touch with hello@oddtales.net. And you know what? According to Microsoft, they described this as the last night being a 2D open world complete game with branching narratives. Now, I'm stoked, but very concerned, Welsh. Do you think that this is an opportunity for Microsoft themselves to step in and not only help this developer out, but lock up another exclusive game in the cyberpunk universe for the Xbox? Again, Cyberpunk is coming out for everyone, but this would be a good way to lock up a smaller title that looks like it's going to have some big promising storytelling aspects to it. If you were in charge at Microsoft, would you step in, help them out with funding, and say, hey, listen, here's the money, but it's an exclusive forever? Would you do that?
Right. Okay. I'll say this. This game is definitely on my radar. It looks very good. Like I love the art style. It looks very clean. It reminds me of an indie I've recently played called Too Dark. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Yes, it's fantastic. Beautiful.
Very good, very good. And and I remember seeing that trailer and thinking that looks really cool. And after recent news, everything you just told me, it would be a true shame to not see it hit the shelves. But I gotta be honest, Boom, I'm really torn with this question. In the sense that, I'm torn, whether or not Microsoft should step in, because we don't know really if this game will be good or not, and if this game and the developer are already struggling financially, then I got to be honest, I might be a bit harsh in saying this out loud, but what does that really say about them as a developer? Just to put things into perspective, I was one of those people that was in Microsoft's corner all the way when they axed Scalebound and Fable Legends. End of the day, they were money pits and they were just a massive drain on Microsoft's resources. So with Xbox being on the up now and things are going, going in its direction, and they're making some good moves, and especially when you're going into a new generation, I just don't think now is the best time to be spending unnecessary money, even if this title is only an indie and may require little investment compared to, say, a AAA. But then again, with all that said, selfishly, this is where I'm torn, but selfishly, on the other hand, if Microsoft can in fact buy this developer outright and get the game on Game Pass, and maybe future installments are exclusive, I don't know. It could be a win-win for both the developer and Xbox. I just think if Microsoft are going to step in like they did with Tomb Raider, and this isn't talking about Cyberpunk: The Last Light now. This is just generally, I think if a game is in struggle and Microsoft are going to step in like they did with the Tomb Raider game, there needs to be foresight. The game in question needs to be a guaranteed success, which leads me to believe that Microsoft won't help you know, the last night or whatever it's called. I can't remember. Is it last light or last night?
The last night.
Yeah, last night. This is why it leads me to believe that Microsoft won't help, not because they don't want to, but because it doesn't really make financial sense. You know, because they can't really guarantee they're going to get anything back. It's like you posed a similar question a while ago, Boom, about Telltale Games.
Right.
When they were like, you know, obviously now Skybound, the guys, you know, Robert Kirkman and his team have taken over with things, and they're going to finish the Telltale Walking Dead series, and I don't know if they're going to continue, but they've taken over things now, and Telltale are still going to be working on projects. But there was a time before that where you asked me the same question, like, should Microsoft step in and lock it down, or at the very least help them finish their projects? And I was right there with you when I said, yes, I think Microsoft should, because Telltale Games was a successful and established developer who were pumping out incredible games. And I knew that if Microsoft did put their money forward and help them out, they would have seen a return, no problem. The fact that they didn't is not my business. I don't know why. You know, if they thought about it, if they talked about it, I don't know. But bottom line, I was all for them doing it. And if I was in Microsoft's shoes, I would have definitely stepped in and said, "Yo, Telltale, I'll take you on board, keep you under my wing," because of their pedigree. But this game, The Last Night, you know, it's coming from nowhere. I don't know if they've worked on things before, but judging it at face value, it looks a cool game, looks interesting. But bottom line, it's an indie title, and they're already struggling financially, and they're struggling with development. And for me, that's a bad sign. So, like I said, I'm very torn, because in a business sense, on a financial level, it doesn't make sense for Microsoft to step in based on the evidence that, you know, they're already struggling. But then selfishly, as a gamer, me as a gamer, you know, I'd like to see this game. I'd like to play this game. So if Microsoft could do something, obviously me as the gamer is like rooting for them to do something. But if you're asking me if I was in Microsoft's shoes, what would I do? I would be looking at all my options rather than just jumping in head first, because I know it's only an indie, and you could be thinking, oh, Microsoft have an infinite supply of money. Like, what damage could it possibly do, even if this game flopped? But it's setting a precedent that, like, Microsoft can't be Superman that comes swooping down and saving every game that's no, but it's true though. Like,
yeah,
Microsoft can't be expected to literally lend a hand to every developer that's failing. But a game like Tomb Raider that you knew was going to be a success, but all they needed was that little extra help. Microsoft stepped in, and look what happened. They've gone and made 2 more games since then, and there's no sign of it stopping. You know, I just think, like, it's not a good time to just be putting money down on other people's projects when they're already showing signs of not being competent, in my opinion. But that's just me from a business sense. I like to divide this. That's why I'm torn. I like to divide this question into 2 parts. What I would do if I was in Microsoft's shoes versus me as the gamer wanting this game. If you're asking me, Boom, as the Welsh gamer, of course, by any means, I wouldn't mind seeing this game because it looked very good, and you know, I'd like to play it. But like I said, if I was in Microsoft's shoes, I don't think so. For the reasons I explained, I don't know how else to put it.
No, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I have to shout out Chief Tome in the chat. He says there's controversy around that studio. Probably not the best idea to cop them. Just saying, look it up. And I'm going to do that after the show. Like I said, this particular topic I've had in the wheelhouse for a bit. And I just wanted to talk about the last night. I did not know that there was a bunch of controversy behind the this particular company. I will come back to this next week with an update as to, because I kind of I like reading several articles about one particular subject so I can get different perspectives, and then come in and when we do the show, give you a proper opinion on it from from multiple angles. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Microsoft should save everyone. I just think that this was shown at E3 on their stage. It looked incredible. It is in the cyberpunk universe. I like the idea of it being side scroller because, again, I'm an old school cat like that. It gives me those I remember Flashback being like a big deal for me and my brother Neo Mental, and I thought of this when I saw that. I would like to see it, especially if it's going to be branching paths. You know, it's kind of, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be the next Metrovania, but it has the potential to do something special. So I hope that they figure it out. Someone steps in and gives them funding, because the game did look really good. But you know what? I kind of want to move on to the next topic, because we're going to be here for a while.
Can I just say one more thing, Boom?
Yes, go right ahead.
And I'll be quick. But you said that, like, you want it to work out and everything, and maybe Microsoft to step in, because at the end of the day, it was on Microsoft's stage. But you could say the same thing about Scalebound and Fable Legends. Those two games were highly anticipated, big hitters, were on the Xbox stage as the next, the next coming of Jesus Christ. Like, Christ, people are still talking about Scalebound. I still see hashtag bring back Scalebound in half a dozen people's Twitter account names. Like, and Xbox had no problem axing them for the reasons that this developer is presenting. Like, I don't want to be I don't want to prejudge and claim to know everything about them, because I don't. But based, reading between the lines, and based on what that guy said about controversy, and I didn't even know that. Reading between the lines, it kind of says a whole lot, that they're a struggling developer. They might not even know what they're really doing. I don't know. And like I said, I just don't think it is Microsoft's responsibility to save every developer that can't do their fucking job. So yeah, and that goes for Scalebound. I was all for it. That's what I mean. Like, Scalebound was on the stage, a big hyped up game, and they didn't have any problem axing that for the same reasons. So why should they go out of their way to save a developer that isn't anything to do with them, really? But anyway, that's all I got to say.
No, that's great. And I kind of want to announce real quick before you get into the next topic. The second winner for today's giveaway is the Alan Wake prize pack, and that goes to Kasi 1300. I will not email you. I will hit you up in a DM with the code for that, for the game and the DLC. Again, if you already have it, please just give that away to somebody who may not have Alan Wake. I loved Alan Wake. I love the DLC, so hopefully you will as well. Congratulations to both winners. And let's move on to the next topic. Microsoft Studio acquisitions will likely continue. The next Xbox will likely have VR, says IDC analyst, and that goes directly in line from a tweet from Inside Man Clobriel, who had this to say. What rhymes on balloon might be part of the team soon. Not sure on this yet, so don't make any bets. Just some Sunday evening fun. Acquisition season 2019 has begun. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Reading that out loud, the guy might be the Joker incarnate, because that's something like a clue that would be left for Batman before he blows up an entire city block before moving on. Listen, one of the big takeaways from 2018 was Microsoft finally understanding the value of having a dedicated roster of first-party studios under their wings, which can create compelling content exclusive to their platform and services. In a bid for them pushing those platforms and services to their customers, like everyone in this chat, like you and me. Now, this story was pulled from gamingbolt.com. Now, I really like them. They're very up to date. If you don't follow them on Twitter, check out their site, because they do have a lot of really good stories. Now, at this point, Microsoft Game Studio comprises of over a dozen studios, technically giving Microsoft a formidable arsenal of developers under their wings. However, they might not be done yet, at least not according to what the IDC analyst Lewis Ward had to say. In an exclusive interview with Gaming Bolt, he said that it's now clear Microsoft is looking to push exclusives for its devices. Now, again, this isn't a revelation. They should have been doing this from the beginning, but that's a horse of another color. They also continue, he's saying that they will also continue with acquisitions to cover all gaps in their portfolio. And I want to read a direct quote from him. Well, Microsoft doesn't still have a large enough game developer base bigger than Sony or Nintendo, even after those acquisitions, as far as he can tell. This is a signal that Microsoft wants to put out more exclusives for Win 10 devices moving forward, and will likely see more acquisitions as they continue to bolster their first-party lineup by plugging holes in genres and subgenres they think will grow relatively quick over time. Now, Welsh, again, I don't think this is any kind of a revelation, but man, it gets me excited because, my God, Phil Spencer shocked the world at E3 2018. I said it's been all Microsoft all day long since then. They added 2 more at the end of the year at XO18, and we still think that there's at least, according to what I'm hearing, 2 or 3 big announcements coming. What are your takeaways from this story, dude?
Wow. Well, the writing's on the wall. I mean, I've said it before, mate. They're an unstoppable force. I don't think they're going to be taking their foot off the gas anytime soon with these acquisitions. Like, as you put it, it's like an onslaught. Like, I absolutely see no sign of them shopping. Like, stopping. You know, stopping. like I said last week, like, in terms of success, like, you need powerful hardware. You need a large, strong first-party arsenal. And last but not least, you need your marketing. But powerful hardware is absolutely useless without a plethora of seemingly limitless list of games for first-party to utilize and showcase that system in question, the Anaconda. And how, you know, what good is marketing and a marketing team without the same list of games to show off to the casuals, to let people know, yo, Xbox is where it's at, bro. So, you know, all I can say is literally, like, the more the merrier, man. The more the freaking merrier. Bottom line, there is no law in place that says that there is a cap limit. This ain't the draft. This ain't NFL. This ain't like, oh, we only got this much money to buy a quarterback, 2 corners, and a linebacker. Like, no. That literally, like, it is just it's as limited as, like, Microsoft want it to be. Like, they have got the money to do it, and there is no cap limit in terms of, like, rules and regulations for all these gaming divisions. Like, oh, no, you can't have any more than 10 developers under your wing. No. End of the day, there is no limit to how much talent Microsoft can acquire, and I see no sign of the train stopping. I wouldn't be surprised if between now and 2020 we hear of an extra bloody. It wouldn't, honestly. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. It wouldn't surprise me whether it's in-house founded development squads like, you know, the Initiative, or acquisitions from, you know, already out there developers like, you know, your Undead Labs and Playground Games. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear at least of another, like, 5 or 6 in total by the time 2020 rolls around. So it gets me excited as well, Boom, because they're really not taking their foot off the gas. And too right, they shouldn't. Like I've said before, people seem to forget that, like, whatever you put out there on Twitter, yes, Welsh Gamer can read it, but guess who else can read it? Phil Spencer.
Yes.
And you know, and this, you stabbed and you stabbed and you stabbed and you stabbed left and right when it came to power. Look what happened. The Xbox One X. Look what's happening. The Anaconda. You stabbed left and right about games, first party, not enough exclusives. Look what's happening since just E3. The acquisitions, the games. Like, just stop doing this to yourselves, you delusional ponies and fanboys. Just keep your mouth shut. Honest to God, every time they open their mouth, Phil's just there like, oh, nice one. Like, it puts it into his liked folder, and he's like, oh, team, get the coffee on because we got jobs to do. This pony by the name of Pony Rider 1279 has just informed us that we need games. Right, get all these devs on the phone now. Checkbook is open. Like, oh man, it's just fab. Like, as an Xbox fan, it gets me excited, but as a gamer, first and foremost, it's just good news. Like, it's great, and the onslaught continues. Boom, the onslaught continues.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, I have to just address the chat. First of all, a lot of talk of VR and augmented reality. I'm going to get into that in a quote that he had to say. I have to thank publicly UK Dazarus for getting a particular member who I won't name out of the chat. He seemed to be a little bit of a troublemaker, so good on you for that. I really appreciate that. People don't understand how difficult it is to try and run a show and get comments that are offensive out. And I cannot thank UK Dazarus enough for his involvement in this channel. He is really second to none. And real quick, just a little bit of a shameless plug. On Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the incredible Dazcast will be returning on my channel. It is going to be UK Dazarus's birthday, so get in there on that day. Wish him a happy birthday. Crack a beer. It's going to be the Dazcast that you know and love. It's going to be adult. I try not to do as much cursing as some other guys. It's not going to be, violent or gross. But this is basically, a rated MA for mature. So, I hope everyone comes out and checks that out. It's going to be on my channel once a month after that. We will be giving more information as the next episode after Sundays is airing. I also want to say big shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys have been really going back and forth with one another. And you, of course, for the most part, you've been nice, and that's what I really dig. But you know what? I want to just give another quote from what he was saying in regards to VR and the augmented reality. Microsoft wants to be more of an enabler for the Win 10 based hardware and software providers, he said. There's no reason the Xbox One X can't play Windows mixed reality games right now. I'm not sure why Microsoft hasn't pulled that trigger yet, but they are very likely to be in this space in the next generation with the new consoles. The bottom line is that while a lot of people are still down on VR, he expects 2018's global spending on the off-the-shelf software, which is primarily games on all platforms, consoles, PCs, and mobile devices, to roughly double what they spent in 2017, which is going to be upwards of $1 billion with a B dollars in VR spending. And I saw other Zinc say that he believes that VR is dead. And I'm here to tell you that it may not be for everyone. You look at the console sales for like the PlayStation 4, they just posted almost a 92 million consoles sold worldwide, which is insane. And probably somewhere between 3 and 5% actually own a PlayStation VR. I'm a proud owner of a PlayStation VR. I absolutely love it. I think games like Moss and the new Tetris one that's come out, and a few others continue. The new software tells me that isn't done anytime soon. So I think that it would be great, and this is just me speaking, I would love to see Microsoft jump into the VR realm. But at the same time, I don't think they need to make a unit of their own. They don't need to, because I know what they're thinking. Behind the scenes, they're terrified of a Connect 2.0 situation where they spend all this millions and millions of dollars on R&D and, it doesn't sell. So what I think they should do, and what I thought they were going to do, was to team up with either the Vive or the Oculus and have those third-party peripherals being able to play VR games. And you know what? If they could possibly task a VR based developer to make a VR experience for Halo or for Gears, or add that ability to something like Forza Motorsport 7 or Horizon 4 or even Motorsport 8, whatever. Drew, I want to get your opinion on this. VR, again, it's not for everyone, and I absolutely understand that. It's for me as a gamer, and I would love to see Microsoft dabble in this. What are your takes on that, dude?
Right. I can hear the boos. I can already hear them. I can smell them. No, man. Firstly, before I go into this, I just want to do a big shout out to Saltiest Gaming, because he is a fantastic friend of mine.
Yes, he's a good dude.
I always see his head pop up in the chat, and he's such a lovely dude. He supports so many podcasts. And I just want to be the one to say, I put it in the chat already, but everyone listening, everyone in the chat, you enjoy coming here every week for me and Boom with the Xbox Factor. Do yourself a service if you haven't already. Go over to Saltiest Gaming's YouTube channel, and hit that sub button, hit that bell icon, and be sure to tune into the Saltiest Gaming podcast later. If I'm not mistaken, it's 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll have to double. You'll have to. It is. Yeah, I do remember. But do yourselves a favor, guys. It's a fantastic show. He does a great job over there, and I just had to do that shout out before I continued. But no, you asked me if Xbox and Microsoft should jump into the VR business. I can hear the boos, like I said. I personally don't think VR is big enough yet. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of think VR, where it is right now, is where kind of like Kinect was when it first came out, what they wanted it to be versus what it actually was. And also, remember those 3D TVs they sold with the 3D glasses? Yeah. I kind of think it's like that level as well. Like, the idea is great, but it hasn't really hit off yet. I mean, VR for me is not going to be like this groundbreaking success that they probably want it to be until it's at the level of the film Ready Player One, where you can... Do you know what I mean?
Get me into the Oasis right now, damn it.
But that's what I'm saying. Until you're literally running on a bloody treadmill that goes all different directions, and you can literally step into this massive open world and pretend to be an orc and shit like that. I don't know. Like, that's where it needs to be, in my opinion, before it obviously that's a little far-fetched, but
I really hope I'm alive by then. I really do.
No, me too. But don't get me wrong, what I'm getting at, right, it's not big enough yet. It's getting there slowly. Do not get me wrong. But I do think Microsoft would be fools to not allow third-party VR headsets and games to be compatible. Like you said earlier, Boom, I think that I see no reason for them to make it compatible with Xbox consoles. But to invest a load of money into their own first-party headset and games, I gotta have a massive big no-no for that one. For me, like I just mentioned a moment ago, it is just Kinect games all over again. It's too early for its time. It's ambitious. It looks cool in some respects. I'm not knocking it, but I just think it's very much still in its infancy. And I just think it would be a huge waste of money that could be used on more promising projects that the majority of today's gamers will actually use. And I think Xbox, especially now moving forward with new gens and stuff like that, I think traditional gaming should be their main focus here on out. VR for me should be an afterthought, but maybe one day it might be a priority. But I think that it shouldn't be a priority until it is mainstream. I mean, until VR is literally in everyone's home, like a mobile phone or a TV or an Xbox console or PS4 console or console in general, until it's hit that level of mainstream, like a Blu-ray DVD player, I really don't see the point in Xbox investing money, because you will lose more money than you gain, I think. I mean, I don't know the exact maths, Boom, but I'm pretty sure the last time I checked, which was a while ago, I'll give you that. But I'm pretty sure the PlayStation VR hasn't really taken off, hit the floor running, really. It's still not where I imagine Sony wanted it to be. And that's been out years. It's had quite a lot of time to for it to grab the market. Am I wrong in saying that, or?
No, I mean, listen, here's the thing. First of all, I have to say this. Boo! No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just
right, I'm getting back on the phone to the psychiatric ward. You brought this on yourself, Boom.
Someone's knocking at the door. I think it's them.
as long as the fluffy walls are green, I don't mind.
Yeah. Listen, look. Here's the thing. Again, I really do mean this. VR isn't for everyone. It is very niche. Simply because it's expensive. It's the same principle as the Razer keyboard and mouse. That's $250. Now, to be fair, I think you can pick up a PlayStation VR right now, which comes with the headset camera, Moss, and a Rescue Bot, which is both those two games are supposed to be fantastic, for $199. I mean, that's, my God, that is so good. And the new headset, listen, I haven't really tried the Vive or the the other one, but I am going to say for someone that does wear glasses, the PlayStation VR, it fits really nice on my big noggin, and it's light. I love it. Like I said, I highly encourage it if you have a PlayStation 4 and you have a couple of spare bucks. Give it a shot. I mean, I don't know if there's any kiosks you can go and try, because VR can still make people sick. But in regards to Microsoft, I would like to see it. And again, I don't think it would be such a big investment for them, as opposed, because if they're not going to make their own headset and they're going to go based on the Oculus and the Vive, those already exist. Those are already very advanced. And because the next Xbox is going to be very PC minded or centric, if you will, in regards to its hardware setup, I think it would be an easy transition. But only time is going to tell. A lot of these analysts, this is their opinion, and a good portion of them are wrong. I hope that he's right, but I'm going to say this: we are already 11 minutes past the 90-minute mark, so this show ran a little longer than we normally do. And again, I don't mind doing it, but I can do this all day long. Unfortunately, Welsh cannot. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you to everyone in the chat. You guys are really why the Welsh and I look forward to each and every Thursday to do this. I mean, you guys are so active, and it seems like you're having fun. And every now and again, you're going to get an asshole, and that's very unfortunate. But you know what? The people in the chat, you guys kind of police it. And, having people like Lethal Papa and UK Dazarus, who are authorized to get rid of D-bags like that, it definitely helps me out. Welsh, listen, 2019, I think is going to be a big year for you. We know that the Dragon X podcast per se is taking a bit of some R&R, and well-deserved R&R, but your channel is still going to go forward with weekly content. Tell the people about that and where they can follow you on Twitter. Hello.
Oh shit! Sorry, Boom. My mic muted. I was literally just saying I was actually going to do a video yesterday, but it just always something gets in the way.
Yeah, life gets in the way, dude. That's just the way it is, man.
Oh man, but I really want to get back into the old video scene. I am really enjoying this Xbox factor though, man. I'm really enjoying my podcasts. It's fantastic. But no, honestly, I wasn't lying when I said last week, guys, go over to my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. There is videos on the way. I've got several topics I want to discuss. I'm going to try a new format with my I've got a new camera and stuff, so see how that fares with people. But yeah, check out the Welsh Gamer. 3 words, the Welsh Gamer. I imagine the link is in the description down below.
Yes.
And as for Twitter, at the Welsh Gamer 93, be sure to DM me anytime if you've got a topic or anything you want me to discuss in a video. I've had a few already, which is cool. By all means, forward yours, and I'll add it to the list. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the chat, I say this every week, but it can't be understated. You guys rock. You are incredible. It's a pleasure to do this show, but even more so with lovely folk like yourself following and supporting us, and it puts a smile on my face to just think that if only like 2 out of the 100 of you like to hear me talk, I love hearing me talk, but it's nice to know someone else does. Yeah, so thank you very much, guys. Awesome show, Boom. Back to you. Look forward to next week. Cheers, fella.
Yeah, you know what? I just have to shout out the graphic god in the chat. Now, if you don't know who he is, there's a couple of things I'd like you to do as soon as this show ends. First of all, I'd like you to follow him on Twitter because I happen to have the absolute privilege of knowing Jay on a personal level, where I would actually consider him a family member. He has extended his hand so many times to me, learning this business, that I don't know if I can ever repay him. Personally, he does, and again, he runs XboxGamerPicks.com. I know that you put it in the chat. I know that UK Dazarus dropped it in the chat. If you are looking for unique and original artwork that defines you as a gamer, I think that you owe it to yourself to spend a couple of bucks and treat yourself to something that is going to really kind of make you stand out in the community. His work is second to none. He's done all the graphics for my channel. He's done all of my gamer picks. He did Welsh's gamer pick. He did UK Dazarus gamer pick, which has motion behind it. His prices are extremely affordable and reasonable. And I think what separates him from several other folks that do this on Twitter and on YouTube is that he will sit down with you on the computer, set up a private Google Hangouts, and you guys will talk as if you were like in a store trying to buy a new car. And you know, he sends you everything. Nothing is finalized until you give him the thumbs up. And I don't think I've come across one person that has walked away from meeting Jay and saying, you know what, he's an a-hole or his work is not good. He's done hundreds of these gamer picks. And he was the driving force for MNC Mornings. And we know how great that show was when he was there. There's no doubt about it that his fingerprints are all over it. I want to say that I appreciate him coming out to support this show, support you and me, Welsh. But I would like this community to get behind him, send him some bucks, through business. And I guarantee you won't be, disappointed. But that is going to be it for today's show. It was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite ones that we've done in a long time, Welsh. When there's this much Xbox information, it's always a real treat to be here talking games with you. Once again, I want to thank the donations through the Super Chat. That's always a big deal for me, whether it's $1 or $100. Every cent counts, and that is something that I cannot thank you guys enough. Welsh, you are my brother from across the pond. I could not do this show without you. And of course, I couldn't do the show without the chat and the fans that will listen to this on the replay. So thank you for that. And we will see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Take care, everyone.